Sixth Standard, Term 2, Social Science, History, Unit 2. Great Thinkers and New Faiths. Intellectual Awakening. The 6th century BC is regarded as an important period in the history of ancient India. As a landmark period in the intellectual and spiritual development in India, historian Will Durant has rightly called it the shower of stars. Sources. Literary sources. Angas, Jain texts. Tripitakas and Jatakas, Buddhist texts. Causes for the rise of intellectual awakening and the birth of Buddhism and Jainism. There were several reasons for the rise of new intellectual awakening. Some of the exploitative practices that paved way for new faiths include the complex rituals and sacrifices advocated in the later Vedic period, expensive sacrificial ceremonies, superstitious beliefs and practices that confuse the common man. Upanishads taught as alternative to sacrificial rites were too philosophical, which a layperson could not understand. Slavery, caste system, gender discrimination also contributed to the new awakening. Origin of Jainism. Jainism is one of the world's oldest living religions. Jainism grounds itself in 24 Tirthankaras. A Tirthankara is the one who revealed religious truth at different times. The first Tirthankara was Rishabha and the last one was Mahavira. Jainism gained prominence under the aegis of Mahavira during the 6th century BC. About Mahavira. Original name Vardhamana, place of birth Kundgrama near Vaishali, Bihar. Parents Siddharth Tirisala, place of death Pavapuri, Bihar. Mahavira, the great hero. Vardhamana, meaning prosperous, was a Kshatriya prince. However, at the age of 30, he renounced his princely status to adopt an ascetic life. He undertook intense meditation. After 12 and a half years of rigorous penance, Vardhamana attained omniscience or supreme knowledge known as Kevala. Omniscience. It is the ability to know everything or be infinitely wise. Thereafter, he became Jinnah, meaning one who conquered worldly pleasure and attachment. His followers are called Jains. Mahavira reviewed the ancient Brahmanic traditions and came up with new doctrines. Therefore, he is believed to be the real founder of Jainism. Unique teaching of Jainism. Jainism denies God as the creator of universe. Basic philosophy of Jainism is ahimsa or non-violence. Ultimate aim of Jainism is attaining moksha or ending the cycle of birth, death, rebirth. Jains reject the belief in last judgment where God, a supreme being, decides who goes to heaven or hell. Jainism advocates that the goddess or quality of one's life is determined by one's karma. What is karma? The belief that a person's action in this life determine the quality of his or her later part of the current life and next incarnation. Tri-Ratna or three jewels. Mahavira exhorted the threefold paths for the attainment of moksha and for the liberation from karma. They are right faith, right knowledge, right action. Moksha, liberation from the cycle of birth and death. Jain Code of Conduct. Mahavira asked his followers to live a virtuous life. In order to live a life filled with sound morals, he preached 5 major principles to follow. They are ahimsa, not to injure any living beings; satya, to speak truth; asteya, not to steal; aparigraha, not to own property; brahmacharya, celibacy. Digambaras and Swetambaras. Jainism split into 2 sects. Digambaras. Digambaras are orthodox and conservative followers. Monks of the Digambara sect do not wear any clothes and live naked. They are forbidden to have any kind of possessions. Digambaras believe that women cannot achieve nirvana or liberation directly. Swetambaras. The Swetambaras are considered progressive. Monks of Swetambaras sect wear white robes. They are permitted to have Rajoharana, broom with woolen threads, begging bowl and book. Swetambaras believe that women are equally capable of achieving liberation as men. Reasons for the spread of Jainism. The following are the main reasons for the wide acceptance of Jainism in India: use of people's language, intelligible teaching, support from rulers and traders, perseverance of Jain monks. Influence of Jainism, Samanam in Tamil Nadu. In ancient Tamil literature, Jainism is referred to as Samanam. There is a Samanar hill or Samanar Malai in Keelakuyilkudi village, 15 km away from Madurai. The image of Tiruthankara created by Jain monks are found in the hill. It is protected monument of Archaeological Survey of India. In Arittapatti, a small village 25 km from Madurai, on one side of Kalinja Malai hill, there are Jain caves called Pandavar Padukai. Pandavar Padukai is the bed of Jain saints. There is a reference of Arovar Palli, place of living for Jain monks in Manimegalai. According to Silappatikaram, when Kovalan and Kannagi were on their way to Madurai, Gaudi Adigal, a female Jain monk, blessed the couple and accompanied them. Puhar, Urayur, Madurai, Vanchi, Karuvur, Kanchi all had Jain monasteries. Jinna Kanchi. Tirupparuthikundram, a village in Kanchipuram, has two ancient Jain temples. This village was once called Jinna Kanchi. Buddhism. Gautama Buddha. Gautama Buddha was the founder of Buddhism. His real name was Siddhartha. Like Mahavira, he was also a Kshatriya prince belonging to the ruling Sakya clan. When Siddhartha was only 7 days old, his mother died. So he was raised by his stepmother Gautami. 4 great sights. At the age of 29, Siddhartha saw 4 sorrowful sights. They were an uncared old man in rags with his bent back, a sick man suffering from an incurable disease, a man's corpse being carried to the burial ground by weeping relatives, an ascetic. About Gautama Buddha. Original name Siddhartha. Place of birth Lumbini Garden, Nepal. Parents Sudhodana Mayadevi. Place of death Kushinagar, UP. Enlightenment. Buddha, the awakened or enlightened one, realized that the human life was full of misery and unhappiness. So, at the age of 29, he left his palace and became a hermit. He sacrificed 6 years of his life towards penance. Nonetheless, deciding that self-mortification was not a path to salvation, Buddha sat under a peepal tree and undertook a deep meditation near Gaya. On the 49th day, he finally attained enlightenment. From that moment onwards, he was called Buddha or the Enlightened One. He was also known as Sakya Muni or Sage of Sakya clan. Buddha delivered his first sermon at Deer Park in Sarnath near Benares. This was called Dharmachakra Pravartana or the turning of the wheel of law. Buddha's 4 noble truths. Life is full of sorrow and misery. Desire is the cause of misery. Sorrows and sufferings can be removed by giving up one's desire. The desire can be overcome by following the right path. Noble Eightfold Path. Eightfold Path. Right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right knowledge, right meditation. The teaching of Lord Buddha was simple and taught in a language which people used for communication. Since the teaching addressed the everyday concern of the people, they could relate to them. He was opposed to rituals and sacrifices. Teachings of Buddha. Buddha's teachings are referred to as Dhamma. Buddhism accepted the theory of karma, meaning that the quality of man's life depends on his deed. Buddha neither accepted nor denied the existence of God, but believed in the laws of universe. Buddha asserted that attaining nirvana is the ultimate aim of life. Buddha advocated ahimsa or non-violence. Buddha had rejected the caste system. The wheel of life represents the Buddhist's view of the world. Buddhist Sangha. Buddha led foundation for a missionary organization called Sangha, meaning association, for the propagation of his faith. The members were called bhikshus, monks. They led a life of austerity. Buddhist sects. Hinayana, Mahayana. Hinayana did not worship idols or images of Buddha, practiced austerity, believed that salvation of the individual as its goal, used Prakrit language. Hinayana is also known as Theravada, spread to Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Burma, and Southeast Asian countries. Mahayana worshipped image of Buddha, observed elaborate rituals, believed that salvation of all beings as its objective, used Sanskrit language, spread to Central Asia, Tibet, China, and Japan, where middle path was accepted. Middle path, it refers to neither indulging in extreme attachment to worldly pleasure nor committing severe penance. Causes for the spread of Buddhism. Simplicity of the teachings of Buddha in local language appealed to people. Buddhism rejected elaborate religious customs, whereas the practice of orthodox Vedic religion insisted on expensive rituals and sacrifices. Buddha's emphasis was an observance of Dhamma. Buddhist Sanghas played an important role in spreading the message of Buddha. Royal patronage under Ashoka, Kanishka, and Harsha also helped the causes of Buddhism. Viharas, or the Buddhist monasteries, became great centers of education. One such center was Nalanda, where Yonsang, the Chinese pilgrim, studied for many years. Jainism and Buddhism, similarities and dissimilarities. Similarities. Both Mahavira and Buddha hailed from royal families, yet they renounced royal privileges and chose to adopt an ascetic life. Denied the authority of Vedas. Taught in the language of the common people. Admitted disciples from all the castes and from both the genders. Opposed blood sacrifices. Believed in the doctrine of karma. Emphasized on the right conduct and right knowledge instead of performing religious ceremonials and rituals as the means to achieve salvation. Dissimilarities. Jainism. It followed extreme path. It remained in India only. It does not believe in the existence of God, but believes soul in every living being. Buddhism. It followed middle path. It spread across many parts of the world. It emphasizes on anatma, no eternal soul, and anitya, impermanence. Buddhist councils. First, Rajagriha. Second, Vaishali. Third, Pataliputra. Fourth, Kashmir. Influence of Buddhism in Tamil Nadu. Buddhism spread to Tamil Nadu much later than Jainism. Manimegalai, one of the epics of the post-Sangam age, is a Buddhist literature. There is an elaborate description about Kanchipuram in classical epic Manimegalai. Kanchipuram was a famous Buddhist center from where Dinagga, the famous Buddhist logician, and Dharmapalla, a great scholar of Nalanda University, hailed. Hyonsang, who visited Kanchipuram in the 7th century AD, noticed the presence of 100 feet stupa built by Ashoka there. Jataka story. The Jatakas are popular stories about the previous birth and life of Buddha as human and as an animal. They teach morals. The Woodpecker and the Lion, a Jataka story. Once upon a time, there lived a woodpecker and a lion. One day, the lion hunted a big bison and sat down to eat it. It so happened that while having his meal, a big bone got stuck in the lion's throat. He was not able to remove it and was in great pain. A kind hearted woodpecker offered to help the lion. The woodpecker, however, told the lion that he would only take out the bone if the lion promised not to eat him while removing the bone. The lion gladly agreed and opened his mouth in front of the woodpecker. The woodpecker hopped inside the lion's mouth and easily pulled out the bone. The lion kept his promise and let the woodpecker fly away. Soon the lion recovered completely and killed another bison. The woodpecker also thought of joining the lion and asked for a small share of meat. To her utter disappointment, the lion blatantly refused to share his meal with her. The lion said, "How dare you ask me for more favors? I have already done so much for you." The woodpecker did not understand what the lion was talking about. The lion then clarified, "You should be thankful to me that I did not devour you when you were taking out the bone from my throat. Now, do not expect anything else from me and go away." The woodpecker said to himself, "It was indeed a mistake to help such an ungrateful creature. Nevertheless, it is not worth being angry or holding grudge against someone as unworthy as him." Elsewhere in the world, 6th century BC, Confucius, Kung Fu Se. Confucianism in China, Zoroaster, Zoroastrianism in Persia. Glossary: superstitious belief, belief in things that are not real or possible. Preceptor, a teacher or instructor. Doctrine, set of principles or belief. Virtuous, having high moral standards. Sacred book, holy book. Frescoes, a painting done in water on wet plaster. Corpse, a dead body. Nirvana, a state of freedom from suffering and rebirth. Do you know? The word Jain derives from the Sanskrit word Jinna, which means conquering self and the external world. Do you know? Gautama Swami, a chief disciple of Mahavira, compiled the teaching of Mahavira called Agama Siddhanta. Do you know? Chaitya, a Buddhist shrine or a meditation hall. Viharas, monasteries or living quarters for monks. Stupas, built over the remains of Buddha's body, they are monuments of great artistic value. Do you know? Frescoes, paintings. Frescoes on the ceilings and walls of the Ajanta caves in Aurangabad, Maharashtra depicts the Jataka tales.